This is so fucking enraging. I just knew this would happen if they shared the most vital secrets with someone, allies, anyone. China has their hooks in pretty much every country's servers. And they have spies everywhere. All countries have spies, but China is really good, has gotten good, and they've stolen so much shit from so many people, especially us. But man, this video really enrages me. Pisses me the fuck off.
December 12th, 2016. In Fort Worth, Texas, the atmosphere was electric as Lockheed Martin executives and top American defense officials gathered for a historic signing. Pens touched paper on a massive $6.5 billion deal, 50 F-35 Lightning II, fighters destined for Israel's Air Force. This represents a transformation of Middle Eastern air power.
No problem sharing. No problem sharing. Limited.
Claimed General Michael Davidson as cameras flashed. Israel would become the first F-35 operator in the Middle East, a position carrying both prestige and strategic weight. The numbers were impressive. Each F-35 cost approximately $130 million. Its advanced computer systems could process 400 billion operations per second. The aircraft could detect threats from over 800 miles away. And now, America's most sophisticated warplane would soon bear the Star of David. For Washington,
I'm just glad they never sold the F-22 to anyone. But this...
it seemed like the perfect arrangement. Israel received its next-generation defender. America secured its largest F-35 foreign military sale to date, and Lockheed Martin added another prestigious client to their portfolio. But beneath the handshakes and smiles, something unprecedented was already brewing. Israel's Defense Technology Division had special plans for these jets, plans that would eventually make Washington deeply regret this historic sale. As one retired Air Force general would later testify, "We weren't just selling aircraft that day, we were sharing the crown jewels of American military technology. Many fail to realize that even our closest allies might have their own ideas about those jewels." Within months of the deal's completion, Israel's Military Technology Division made a request that stunned Pentagon officials. They wanted something no other F-35 customer had ever received: complete access to the aircraft's ALIS, essentially the F-35's digital brain. The request sent shockwaves through the Defense Department. ALIS wasn't just software, it was the heart of the F-35 program. This system controlled everything from mission planning to maintenance diagnostics, containing millions of lines of classified code. Even Britain, America's closest NATO ally, had limited access to ALIS's inner workings. But Israel's argument was persuasive. Their unique security situation, they claimed, demanded unique solutions. Located in one of the world's most volatile regions, Israeli jets needed the ability to operate independently if American systems ever went offline. They also required integration with their own Iron Dome defense network, something ALIS wasn't designed to accommodate.
No.
What followed was an intense negotiation that would rewrite the rules of military technology sharing. In a classified meeting at Tel Aviv's Syria military headquarters, Israeli officials presented a list of specific modifications they considered non-negotiable. The Pentagon faced an impossible choice: deny Israel's requests and strain relations with a crucial ally, or grant unprecedented access and risk, compromising the F-35's.
Should have told him just figure out how to work with it, man. No way you're getting the most sensitive stuff. No. Fuck.
Most sensitive systems. In July 2017, they chose the latter. Israel received special access codes to ALIS's core functions, a decision that would later be described as opening Pandora's box. May 2018. The world's most advanced stealth fighter was about to face its first real combat test. Under the cover of darkness, 2 Israeli F-35I Adir fighters slipped into Syrian airspace, targeting a suspected weapons facility. This mission, later known as Operation Midnight, had begun. What happened next sent ripples through defense communities worldwide. Russian S-400 air defense systems, stationed in Syria, detected something unexpected. The supposedly invisible F-35s had left a digital signature that shouldn't have existed. Israeli modifications to the jet's electronic warfare systems.
Make sure you pay attention to this.
Had created an unforeseen vulnerability. The aircraft's stealth capabilities, while still formidable, weren't performing exactly as designed. Moscow's military analysts began collecting data, marking the first time a potential adversary had gathered real combat information about the F-35's stealth characteristics. Pentagon officials were alarmed when reports emerged of Russian defense contractors analyzing this radar data. We discovered that Russian systems had tracked electromagnetic signatures unique to the modified F-35s, revealed a senior U.S. defense official. This wasn't supposed to be possible. The controversy deepened when Israeli Air Force commanders defended their modifications. The changes were essential for our operational requirements.
Nope. Should have done what you need to do to work around it, man. Figure out how to do it. You figured out how to integrate into the F-35 brain, so you should have done other ways. God damn, man. I'm so pissed with the fucking government.
Their chief of operations. We had intelligence that proved our adaptations were necessary for mission success. But the damage was done. Russian military journals began publishing analyses of F-35 detection possibilities. Chinese defense websites soon followed. The stealth fighter's aura of invincibility had suffered its first crack, and it came from the modifications of a trusted ally.
Israel.
September 2018. A routine inspection at Israel's Nevatim Air Base uncovered something that sent the Pentagon into crisis mode. Israeli technicians had developed what they called a plug-and-play electronic warfare system, a mysterious black box that could be installed and removed from the F-35 without leaving a trace. What we found wasn't just a modification, revealed Colonel James Harrison, head of the Pentagon's assessment team. It was a complete bypass of our core systems. They could effectively transform our F-35 into a different aircraft at will. The discovery triggered an emergency conference at the Pentagon. Within hours, Lockheed Martin launched their most extensive internal investigation since the program's inception. What they uncovered was staggering.
This is the second time I'm watching this video. I'm so upset about it. I was like, you know what? I want to make a video because I am fucking pissed.
The Israeli system could override the F-35's original electronic warfare capabilities, operate independently from American monitoring, install custom combat programs without U.S. approval, and leave no digital fingerprint of these modifications. The implications were severe. Every F-35 sold to Israel could potentially be operating with capabilities unknown to its American creators. As one Lockheed Martin executive admitted during a classified briefing, "We designed the most secure fighter in history, only to watch it be turned into something we can no longer fully control." The investigation revealed another shocking detail. The Israeli system had already been used in multiple combat missions. Each time, the F-35's American-made systems had been temporarily superseded by Israeli technology. The U.S. had been completely unaware. For the first time since the F-35's sale to Israel, words like suspension and cancellation began circulating in Pentagon corridors. The situation took an unexpected turn when Israel's famous Unit 8200, their elite cyber warfare division, became involved. Known worldwide for their exceptional technological capabilities, these specialists had earned respect even from America's top computer experts. These talented personnel found ways to make the F-35 work better with Israel's own defense systems. It was impressive work, showcasing why Israel's military tech experts were among the world's finest. But it also meant altering the jet's American-made software in ways that deeply troubled U.S. officials.
Sure. Share that information, though.
Our pilots' lives depend on these planes working perfectly with our other defense systems, explained retired Israeli Air Force General David Ivry. That's why we needed our best people to ensure everything works together seamlessly. His words underscored that brave pilots' safety was at the heart of this dispute. Then something unprecedented occurred in 4 decades of close U.S.-Israeli military cooperation. American maintenance crews, who had always worked alongside their Israeli counterparts, found themselves locked out of F-35 maintenance areas. Signs reading "Restricted Access, Israeli Personnel Only" appeared on hangar doors at Nevatim Air Base. For the American contractors who had supported Israel's Air Force for decades, This was difficult to accept. "We used to work together like family," said Jim.
Can't really blame them. I mean, I understand it, but it's an American-made jet. We sold it to them with the express understanding that they wouldn't change anything. And they should have made sure that if they did try to modify anything, it would be shared with the U.S.
Peterson, a veteran U.S. maintenance chief. "Now we couldn't even enter the hangars we helped build." The reason became apparent when information leaked about a specialized system Unit 8200 had developed. A sophisticated interface that allowed the F-35 to communicate with Israel's proprietary air defense network. While the technical achievement was impressive, Pentagon leaders grew increasingly concerned about what this meant for the F-35's classified systems. Early 2019 brought a discovery that made previous concerns seem minor. During a standard data review, American engineers found something remarkable in the F-35's flight control system. Israeli tech teams hadn't just modified existing systems. They had integrated their own artificial intelligence to enhance aircraft performance. This wasn't a small adjustment.
Impressive.
The F-35 already had smart features to assist pilots in combat, but the Israeli AI system was fundamentally different. It could learn from each mission and progressively improve aircraft performance. While this represented brilliant engineering, it sent American officials into a crisis.
You need to share it.
"We found ourselves in uncharted territory," explained Robert Maxwell, head of F-35 safety systems. "The aircraft was learning and evolving with each flight. We had no way to predict what capabilities it might develop next." The American fighter jet was now thinking in ways its creators hadn't anticipated. The Joint Strike Fighter Office quickly established an emergency task force, working around the clock to understand the implications. Their primary concern was straightforward. If the Israeli AI made a critical error, who would bear responsibility? More importantly, could it potentially influence other F-35s in ways that might endanger pilots? The American team reluctantly acknowledged that Israel's AI system was remarkable. It enhanced pilot reaction time and threat detection beyond the original system's capabilities. But it also meant the U.S. had lost oversight of a critical component in their premier fighter jet. January 2020 brought political turmoil in Washington. Senator Tom Cotton entered a closed-door Senate meeting with a thick folder marked F-35 Program, Critical Concerns. His presentation left even the most experienced lawmakers stunned. "Ladies and gentlemen," Cotton began, "we've discovered that our multi-billion-dollar investment in Israeli F-35s has transformed into something we never authorized." He proceeded to explain how the modified jets had diverged so significantly from the American version that they were essentially different aircraft. The revelations hit hard. Congress had approved the sale believing Israel would use the F-35s similarly to other allies, with minor approved modifications at most. Instead, they learned that the technology they'd shared had been so fundamentally altered that American technicians couldn't fully comprehend the modified planes anymore. The Senate Defense Committee called...
They should have shared. They need to share it, or they don't get shit anymore. No. That's a form of betrayal.
multiple emergency sessions in a single week. "We're not discussing minor avionics tweaks," one senator declared during heated debate. "We're talking about billions in American military technology being utilized in ways we never imagined or approved." The investigation revealed shocking figures. The estimated value of the modified technology exceeded the original cost of the aircraft themselves. This wasn't merely about financial implications. It concerned control over America's most advanced military technology. Veteran lawmakers who had championed the original sale now faced difficult questions. With hindsight, admitted Senator John Warner, a longtime supporter of Israeli military aid, "I would have insisted on different conditions for this sale. This outcome doesn't reflect what we believed we were approving."
Exactly. If you're gonna try to make changes and modifications, you need to share it with us. No one else. Share it with us. We shared with you our best stuff, but you need to share that with us.
August 2020 brought an incident that made the Pentagon profoundly question the wisdom of the F-35 sale. During a military operation, Israeli F-35s accomplished something American engineers had thought impossible. They conducted combat missions while completely disappearing from U.S. monitoring systems. For 6 critical hours, modified Israeli F-35s carried out operations while being entirely invisible to American tracking. These weren't routine flights. The jets were performing beyond their official design specifications.
And they were given the keys. The keys to the kingdom to be able to use it against us if they ever wanted to.
They demonstrated extended range, increased weapons capacity, and enhanced maneuverability beyond any F-35's known capabilities. The performance was
See, it reminds me of a company called BASF. B-A-S-F. I think it was a German company. It's always easier to make something better than the original. So, like someone builds something, then other people can make that better. So, people can go, like they can build the code for the jets, and then another team can go and make that code better, which is what the Israelis did. Because the U.S. gave them the keys, the code, to be able to do that. But the fact is, the point being is that you can always make something better when you put another team, other minds on it, and improve on things. So it's never the best it can be. It can always be better. And that's what they did. But they need to share it.
remarkable, admitted a U.S. Air Force analyst, speaking anonymously. But it was also deeply concerning. These aircraft were operating beyond design parameters, and we had no visibility or control. The modified jets had effectively broken free from American oversight capabilities. The Pentagon's response was immediate and serious. They initiated a code-red security audit, their highest level of emergency review. Teams of specialists worked tirelessly to understand how the Israelis had achieved this level of independence. What they discovered was alarming. The modified F-35s could seamlessly switch between American and Israeli control systems, leaving no evidence of the transition. For America's military leadership, this moment transformed pride into regret. "We developed the world's most sophisticated fighter jet," remarked one senior Pentagon official, "yet we can't even monitor how it's being utilized." This outcome was never intended. Late 2020 brought the Pentagon's worst fears to reality. U.S. intelligence...
Can't blame them, though. I mean, Israelis want to be able to operate with impunity and not have to worry about the U.S. tracking them and knowing what they're doing all the time. I mean, I understand that, but if you're going to make modifications, you need to share it.
Intelligence detected concerning indications that some modified F-35 technology might have been compromised. Chinese military publications were discussing aspects of the F-35's upgraded systems with...
And of course, the spies, the espionage. There's always that vulnerability. I mean, America has no more secrets anymore, man. No, nothing to ourselves. They've made themselves vulnerable.
Suspicious accuracy. The first warning sign appeared when American analysts noticed an anomaly. Chinese military websites were addressing technical details about the F-35's modified systems that should have been known only to Israel and the U.S. These weren't educated guesses, explained a retired intelligence officer. They contained information that was classified at the highest levels. The U.S. intelligence community launched a comprehensive investigation. They discovered that several Israeli technology companies involved with F-35 modifications maintained business relationships with Chinese enterprises. While these were ostensibly civilian commercial arrangements, they raised serious questions about the security of America's military technology. It was like watching your most valuable possessions appear in someone else's showcase, remarked one Pentagon official. The F-35, America's trillion-dollar aviation program, had been modified in ways that might have exposed sensitive technology to other nations. The intelligence report that followed was concerning. While it found no direct evidence of intentional technology transfer, it couldn't definitively rule out that some F-35 secrets had been inadvertently exposed through civilian business channels. Early 2021 marked a low point in U.S.-Israeli relations. For the first time in decades, America recalled its military attaché from Tel Aviv for urgent consultations. Israel's ambassador to Washington was simultaneously summoned home. The F-35 modifications had triggered a serious diplomatic incident. This fundamentally concerns trust, stated the U.S. ambassador before departing.
So my question, though, is I wonder how the F-22 would fare with the modified Israeli F-35. That'd be interesting.
When you share your most advanced military technology with an ally, you expect certain standards of care. These words came with consequences. The Pentagon immediately restricted Israel's access to future F-35 upgrades and spare parts. The crisis quickly expanded beyond bilateral relations. Other NATO countries operating F-35s began asking uncomfortable questions. The British Royal Air Force demanded answers about the security of their own F-35 fleet. Could modified Israeli F-35s potentially compromise NATO operations? Norway and Italy, both F-35 customers, threatened to suspend their pilot training programs. "We need complete transparency about what we're flying," insisted Norway's defense minister. The U.S. found itself in a difficult position, attempting to reassure other allies while addressing the Israeli situation. Inside NATO headquarters, emergency consultations became routine. Every partner nation sought assurances, revealed a NATO official. They needed confidence that their substantial investments weren't compromised. The F-35, intended to be NATO's premier air asset, had become a source of concern. By mid-2021, the Pentagon launched its largest damage control operation in recent history. Codenamed Operation Digital Shield, this effort represented a final attempt to regain oversight of the modified F-35s. A specialized team of America's leading computer experts from the Joint Strike Fighter Office deployed to Israel. "We arrived believing we could simply reset systems to their original state," said Thomas Rogers, who led the security team. "We were profoundly mistaken. What they discovered was irreversible. The Israeli modifications were too deeply integrated to simply remove. The American team attempted every solution in their arsenal. They tried to secure the jet's software, block unauthorized modifications, and restore factory configurations. But for every countermeasure they implemented, they discovered Israel had already developed a workaround. It was like competing against an opponent who anticipated every move. Then came a startling revelation. The Israeli engineers had built redundant systems that activated whenever someone attempted to override their modifications. These weren't merely clever alterations, admitted one JSF team member. They were self-protecting systems. We'd never encountered anything comparable. The Americans' frustration grew when they realized their containment efforts were actually revealing just how comprehensively they'd lost control.
And worse yet, if one of the jets had gotten shot down or defected to another country, an enemy country, or one that doesn't like us.
Each unsuccessful attempt exposed another sophisticated Israeli modification, previously unknown to them. Today, the Pentagon faces what military experts describe as an unresolvable situation. The modified Israeli F-35s cannot be reverted to their original state, yet allowing them...
They need to insist that the Israelis give them the code and use the plug-and-play device as we see fit as well. That will make things better.
To operate independently creates significant security concerns. The U.S. military finds itself in a predicament with substantial financial and strategic costs. The financial impact is staggering. The U.S. has already invested over $1 billion attempting to understand and contain the modifications, exceeding the cost of multiple new F-35s. "We're spending hundreds of millions just to assess what happened to our own technology," explained the Air Force Chief of Operations during a recent briefing. This situation has forced the Pentagon to completely revise its protocols for selling advanced military equipment. Future F-35 sales to other nations now include stringent new controls. Every contract now contains what we informally call the Israel Clause. revealed a Defense Department official. It explicitly restricts what purchasers can modify, a lesson learned through difficult experience. But the greatest challenge isn't technical or financial, it's strategic. America must determine how to manage its premier fighter jet being transformed by a close ally. Do we continue supporting the modified aircraft and risk further surprises? Or do we restrict support and potentially damage a crucial alliance? Asked a senior military planner. There are no simple solutions. Meanwhile, Israel continues operating its unique F-35s with impressive results. Their modified jets demonstrate capabilities that even American pilots respect. They've created something extraordinary, acknowledged a U.S. Air Force pilot who trained with the Israeli squadron. We simply wish we maintained more oversight over their development process. The story of America's F-35
They
sale...
should have known better. I don't understand how the government doesn't foresee these issues. I knew these things were going to happen back in the 90s when, you know, the trade agreements and Bush Jr. was trying to give tax incentives, tax breaks to companies moving their manufacturing overseas to other countries for daddy and company's New World Order idea, you know, and make the world more economical. But, you know, they just hurt the U.S. more than helped the world, more than helped anything, man. And then China took advantage of all that, and fucking A, man. Well, I could go on for hours about all that.
to Israel has become essential study material at military academies worldwide. It serves as a powerful reminder that in today's high-tech military environment, transferring advanced weapon systems can have unforeseen consequences. What began as a proud moment in U.S.-Israeli cooperation evolved into a sobering lesson about the risks inherent in sharing cutting-edge military technology. As one Pentagon official recently concluded, the F-35 sale to Israel taught us an expensive lesson. Sometimes your greatest regrets emerge from the arrangements you were most proud of.
Yep. Sure is true. Sure is true.